Boris Johnson announces build, build, build in a major speech this morning. The UK has come bottom of the league on coronavirus, according to the Health Foundation. And David Beckham is selling his Aston Martin for an incredible £445,000. All this and more on The Voice of London. Well, it's another exciting week in Britain this week. At the end of this week, it's going to be known as Super Saturday, when a lot of the restrictions that we've been facing over the past 4 months just go into thin air. But hopefully the coronavirus doesn't affect us at the same time. So we start off today with Boris Johnson and his plans, which he calls build, build, build. Now he's announcing £5 billion worth of building for schools and for hospitals and the like. What he didn't really say this morning was that this was already money that had been planned. This is not extra money that is coming into the system at all. But let's take him at his home values. The reality is that he's springing these ideas forward in order to really start the economy again. And that's what's going to be necessary. But huge amounts of funding are going to be necessary because the spending on this works out at just £100 per person per capita in Britain right now. And he also talks, because he was in the West Midlands this morning in Dudley, he also talks about a very close city, Leicester, where there is another lockdown again, really because the coronavirus has gone out of control once more. Now, I think the reality at the moment is that are we coming out of lockdown too early? Who knows? The economy is very important as well. And I think Boris Johnson this morning was trying to take away the message away from coronavirus, which he hasn't really got a great record on by any means at all. And he's trying to sort of say that he is now the new Theodore Roosevelt, the man who actually brought America out of the recession in the 1930s. Interesting, to say the least. And when he was challenged, because Theodore Roosevelt in a 4-year period created 4 million new jobs. So he was asked by a commentator, Mr. Johnson, Prime Minister, are you going to create 4 million jobs as well? And he didn't know what to say, really. His usual bluster and bluster about, well, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I think the reality at the moment is that Britain wants the truth. I think he is starting to tell the truth because he is starting to admit mistakes have been made now, and that's a good sign. We want Britain to prosper in the 21st century, and in 2020, we want it to prosper. We know we're going to hit hard times. But I think the reality at the moment is, let's get the government just to tell us the simple truth. They have made mistakes, okay. This is how we're going to spend our way out of lockdown as well. That's fine. And where there are cities like Leicester happening, instead of actually having another English-wide lockdown system, the idea from now on is going to be that in the future it'll be done area by area and probably looked after more by the local NHS as well. Which is what it should have been in the first place, because then I don't think we'd be in all the situations we're in right now. Now, this is not only me talking about coronavirus, this is the Health Foundation, one of the biggest organisations in the world, talking about who has come up top and bottom of the league in coronavirus stopping and really getting on top of this terrible virus. And we look down the list and we look down the list, and where is Britain? England? We are bottom of the list by the Health Foundation. We are bottom of the list for the expectancies and how we've actually managed to deal with coronavirus. We're seen as the worst in the world. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, because I look at America and I'm looking at Brazil, that's happening at the moment, and even in places like Russia, that is, it's being kept very secret how bad the problem is. And even China now is starting to lock down some of the principalities at the same time. This coronavirus is such a pandemic that we have to be so careful constantly about everything that we still do. So my advice, and the advice I'm going to be taking for myself, is I will gradually go out and perhaps meet a few people, but they will be done on the outside, so there's less of a risk, and we will remain social distancing at the same time. I don't plan right now to actually take huge risks, not at this time. And just to give you an anecdote, for my first trip out of the area where I actually live, was on Saturday, and I travelled by tube train, and in Britain right now, and in England especially, we have a process still that whenever you travel on any public transport, you wear a mask. So there was I, Julie, wearing a mask on Saturday, travelling, and you know what? Half the people on the train were just not wearing masks. Now I asked myself, in reality, what is going to happen if we constantly flout these rules? Are we ever going to get rid of this coronavirus in this country? Because I think people seem to really feel at the moment, after the Dominic Cummings affair where he flouted the rules, the reality is that right now, I think a lot of people feel, why should we bother anymore? We should bother because if we don't, Britain will be in such a financial mess and a health mess, we may not be able to come out of it at all. And so, you know, I move on this subject to Super Saturday. Now, this really worries me at the moment. This is the government's attempt to finally sort of say, you can open up different places, hairdressing, small shops, public houses, restaurants, hotels, and so forth. And this is their attempt to actually ensure that Britain starts coming back on its feet again. However, when you look at the images like there were in Bournemouth just a few days ago, the crowding on these beaches, the crowding that this may cause in public houses up and down the country, restaurants up and down the country, people trying to create parties again up and down the country. Is this going to be Super Saturday or Sad Saturday? Sad Saturday could be that a large amount of people could catch this virus again and it could spread again. And so the spike could be much quicker than we think. We think in Britain at the moment, according to the experts, that there will be a second spike October, November this year. But this spike could come even earlier. So I'm hoping that the British people use common sense. That's what the government wanted in the first place. Use your common sense. And at the moment, I just see thousands of people walking around really in very close contact, sitting, lazing around in parks and so forth. I get it, it's great weather, but the problem at the same time is you could be catching that virus. You could be killing yourself. That's the reality at the moment. And so I look at these pictures of Bournemouth and I'm thinking, how can anybody in their right minds think that this is a good thing to do right now? I want to see Britain win. As I say, I want to see Britain win. I want to see people really moving forward in their lives again, businesses opening up. I have a love of British tourism. I want to see everything grow. But the problem is, because we didn't lock down soon enough, because we made a lot of mistakes with this virus in the first place, this is a far more dangerous virus than we thought we were going to contend with at the same time. So I just remember a very famous TV series in the 1980s called Hill Street Blues, and they used to finish each series by sort of saying, just be careful out there. Do you know what, Britain, Albanians, just be careful out there. Now we move from that to, I just thought we would try and find something that's a bit positive, something that's a little bit more show busy as well. You know, we don't always want to be talking about doom and gloom on this show either. And so I found this story about David Beckham. Now, Mr. Beckham, he's got a whole series of cars. I think between the Beckhams, between them, I think are worth about 100 million, if I remember rightly. But now he decided to sell his Aston Martin car, and he's selling it for £445,000. Now, we have a magazine in Britain, and it's really a magazine for all sorts of people, called Auto Trader. And as soon as he put his advert that this was David Beckham's car in Auto Trader for £445,000, this Aston Martin, the magazine was inundated with fans making inquiries about this car. So it's an interesting sort of situation that even in this area, perhaps he's buying another one, I don't know, or perhaps he's, I wouldn't think he's strapped for cash at all, Mr. Beckham, but I do believe in reality he is a very good person. He's done a lot for Britain, not only playing for England, but also really being a great ambassador for this country, as his wife Victoria as well. So I suppose this is their runabout car, I don't know, that he has, but I wish him good luck, and hopefully he'll get his £445,000. And finally, keeping on the subject of celebrities at the moment, the actor Idris Elba had a conference at the weekend held at the Young Vic, the theatre in London. And I think this was a fundraising event. And he was talking to Kwame Kwei-Armah, who is the Young Vic artistic director. And what really came out of this, again, was encouraging in one way, discouraging in another. Because Idris Elba's parents told him when he was a young man that you have to be twice as good as any white man to get on. Personally, this is not my world. In reality, you know, for me, as you may know, I try to support all communities. I've really tried to support the Albanian community and highlight all the good things from that. And I do the same thing with the black communities and the Caribbean communities and the Asian communities and all communities in Britain at the same time. And to hear something like that, it reminds me of a dinner party 4 or 5 years ago when I was shocked when I heard another remark from a couple of my Caribbean friends at the dinner table saying they are told they always have to work 10 times harder than any white man to actually get anywhere in life. This is not my Britain, and I hope coming out of lockdown, we are going to be a lot happier, a lot more positive, a lot more friendly, and a lot more kind to each other. Well, that's the news part for today. We go into the second half of the show in a minute, and I'm with Philip Chan. And Philip Chan is the fastest man in the world as a mathematician. He can actually work out maths in 10 seconds. So I'll see you after the break. Hello and welcome back to the second half of the show with me, Ian Pelham Turner, on ALB UK Television and positivebritain.co.uk, the Voice of London show. And now I'm going to call this young man a Superman. This is Mr. Philip Chan. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Ian, for having me on your programme. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And why do I call you a Superman? I mean, I've never seen someone do so much in their lives. So, I think you're awe-inspiring, to sort of say the least. But you are a 10-second math expert, and you have a business called Jet Set Learning, and you teach from primary to college with maths. You're a life coach. You're an elite sports performance coach as well, which is very, very interesting. You've done a lot of fundraising for UNICEF, Shelter, Oxfam and YMCA, and you also do stress management.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you about how to de-stress someone like myself in television, but I won't bother about me this afternoon. But what is important, because I know you're a motivational speaker as well, is obviously we're coming out of lockdown right now, and I find there's a lot of very, what I would say, different people from when before lockdown first started.
Yes.
They've come through this and it's really influenced their lives in all sorts of ways. And a lot of the time it's been in a negative way rather than a positive way. So how would you advise young people coming out of lockdown right now? Obviously because this Saturday is known as Super Saturday. This is when they expect millions of people to go into pubs, crowd out the beaches and everything. What would you say to people at a time like this?
I think the key thing is looking for a role model. Because look at successful people and what they do. Because we're in a kind of limbo right now. There's lots of vast changes happen. We've been put in a situation none of us has ever experienced before. There's winners and losers, but also the key thing is how to use your time properly. For some kids they think this is an extended holiday, which actually is not. And this, with that mindset, it's going to be very detrimental later on. When the other kids actually have used that time to actually learn about themselves, the key thing is right now, it's the first time you've got time to really learn about yourself, because so often when we're busy working, looking after family, rushing here and there, we've got no time for ourselves. So the key thing is look at yourself, say, what do I really want? What are the hidden talents I have that I haven't had time to explore? And in fact, during this lockdown, several of my friends who've never imagined they'd become an author have now actually written their books. One person, Paula Clark, she's written her first book, and literally almost before she finished the first book, she was writing the second book.
Really?
And within 1 month, she had 2 books published.
Gosh. And
I had another friend, Carol Thompson. She actually, said, no, I can't do this. I'm just an ordinary single parent, blah, 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 blah. And she loves writing poems. I said, look, just type them out. And as she started typing, she actually did the whole thing within 3 days.
Really?
And then also I contacted with a publisher for her. And literally she had her book published, just over 3 weeks from scratch.
And I know mathematics is a very large part of your life. You're known as the 10 seconds maths expert. This is Superman status. It really is. But how important will it be for mathematics now in the 21st century, and especially in 2020? How will it be? Because obviously I think there's going to be a large amount of loss of jobs. So young people are going to really need to skill up for things like artificial intelligence and the other things. So I would assume that mathematics is going to be a very large part of that. How first of all, you were just telling me about how you've skilled up a school in Luton for mathematics. So how do you actually make mathematics fun?
It's about confidence. Let me just backtrack. My claim to fame actually is not the 10-second maths expert. It's actually I was bottom in every subject at school. And I got sick and tired, and I did research. I discovered all these wonderful things been around for hundreds of years. And when I started doing that, then obviously people say, how on earth do you do that? You're so intelligent. I thought, I'm just a dumb person who resurrect these old techniques, and people think I'm intelligent. You know, the schools I've gone to in a short time to actually retaught a 2-year GCSE course, and it's not about me, because I just release the confidence, because they are the people that have to sit the exams. You know, I didn't sit the exam for them, but because I helped to get the confidence, they did the rest themselves.
So what type of techniques do you use, you know, to actually gain confidence?
Well, the 10 seconds maths techniques, I actually made a whole mishmash of lots of things in it, from several hundred years to 1,000 years old. Really? I just put a little bit of showmanship to it and make it more fun. You know, and a lot of people actually discover within a very short time. I normally get a result between 30 seconds to about 5 minutes from my audience. Really? And from across all ages as well. So again, it's not about me. You know, and simple analogy is, you know, if you're a right-handed person and someone gave you a left-handed too, and vice versa, it's not going to be very helpful. And as a teacher for over 45 years, I believe then the way maths is being taught is actually very inefficient. It's almost it's the analogy, you know, giving a right-handed tool to a left-handed person and vice versa. I believe 80% of the techniques can be taught by 80% of the people, but the 20% of the population needs to have a different technique, because we're all different. So one size do not fit all. Right. So what I do is I use these techniques just to create the fun element, and all of a sudden they go, wow, and having this self-belief, you know, and they can just take it on. There's a former pupil's son asked me for some tuition. I worked with him for about 2 months and an hour a week. And after he said, actually, I don't really need it anymore, which actually was really pleasing to my year. Yes. My job actually is to actually work myself out of the job.
I can imagine, yeah.
And then he was in set 3 at his school. And then I lost contact with him for a few months, and about 5 months later, his mum emailed, said, by the way, my son is now gone to set 1 from set 3, and he's now in the top 10 of the class.
Well, there you go.
So again, it's nothing about me. So this was my first book, or the second edition. Okay. And in fact, this is the latest book that I've just co-written with my 12-year-old granddaughter. Really? And this is her book. You know, this is my Chloe Whiting. This is her book. Gosh. So we started this just after she was 10 years old. Gosh. So it took a bit of time. That's another book. Well, actually, this book here was actually co-written with this young man, Trayshawn Ben Salmi. We co-written this when he's age 13. It took us 5 days to write it. Gosh. He's now turned 15 years old. He's now written 6 more books himself. Goodness. And he's got 3 businesses running. Gosh. This is his 2 of his siblings. Yeah, his sister, who actually wrote this at 10. Goodness gracious. And she's now got a business running at age 12. Really? Yep. And this is the young man who actually wrote this book actually just before he turned 4. So, but he was published at age 4. So we said he actually published it at 4. 2 years ago, he was the youngest male author in the world. Good Lord. You know, and again, he actually did the research himself. And again, it's about giving people the confidence. So going to your original career, find a model, a role model, find a mentor that can help you. Because what happens is, a mentor has actually been through the process. They can save you time, money, and the frustration. Because then you just focus on most people want to do new things, but they do hit and miss. And that becomes very frustrating. So find a mentor. There's so much things on the internet as well, which you can look for. And find your passion, because so often, you know, you talk to a lot of people say, oh, I hate my job, but, you know, and loads of people go through that in their life. So during this time, it's an opportunity for you to have a little bit of time to yourself and say, what am I really, really passionate about? You know. And obviously showing these books, how can people get hold of these books, and how can they get hold of you for your services? I have 2 things on my Facebook, just Philip Chan, official. Also have the website, 10-second to child Jesus on my Facebook as well.
Right.
And also Jet Set Learning, which is my main business. That encompasses a lot of different things in my coaching, not only in maths, but in terms of confidence coaching, branding, marketing, and so on.
Yes. Now, you've done a lot of things in your career, you know, and I'm very interested in your elite sports performance coaching. So what type of people did you coach, and how did you work with those people?
Well, I actually coached a number of sports, and my main sports are gymnastics. I was the county coach and regional coach, and some of those people have gone on to Olympics, World Championship.
Really?
And have won gold, silver and bronze.
How do you inspire someone? Because I would assume with a lot of these athletes, I think we're very bad in Britain a lot of the time. They have to get up some incredible hour of the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, and they travel in the cold, you know, in the winter, to some probably cold gymnasium as well. How do you entice and encourage young people like that to move forward in their lives and to achieve what they achieve?
It's coming back to find it doesn't have to be gymnastics, it could be any sport. Find the club, because it's the team and camaraderie and the group enthusiasm. Because when you're in the club, you know, everyone inspires each one. Also, the great things about the clubs in Britain, where you're in boxing, swimming, you know, there's a great friendship that's always been in the sportsmanship, and that's nice. Yeah, and I was really skinny, but my teacher encouraged me to go along to a club, and then, to my surprise, I actually picked it up very, very quickly.
So I was just going to say, were you quite sporty as a young person?
No. I age 14, I was like beanpole, skeleton, and I said, no, I can't, I've got to do something about this. And so I actually worked out a training program for myself, and I trained every day, every night, and over 3 months period, I also got bulk up a bit. Right. And then I discovered, actually, when I started playing different sports, I was picking up to it very quickly. Yeah, I never, you know, had the confidence before.
So would you say that confidence runs through you?
Absolutely. I had lack of confidence. And in fact, actually, back in my days, when you actually have the O level, not the GCSE, in the school that I was in, if you fail your mock exam, the schools don't pay for your exam. Now, coming from a Chinese culture, you know, and I missed the pass mark by 1 mark, and I was dreading going home saying, Mum, Dad, the school is not going to pay for my exam, you know, and I was dreading the thought, and I pleaded, you know, to the headmaster, and he said, well, sorry, you didn't work hard enough, go away. And I was so distraught. And then Mr. Duff, who won the other teachers, and said to me, said, yeah, are you serious about this? I said, yeah, I'll work my guts out. And he persuaded the headmaster to actually let me take the exam.
Very good.
And in fact, my third book, I should have brought it, that was dedicated to him, because if it was for him, the 10-second maths expert would never have happened.
So that one moment in time really changed your life.
Absolutely. And you know, if he's alive today, he'd be over 100 and something. But I've been trying to track 3 of my teachers down. I managed to track 1 of the 3, but unfortunately, Mr. Duff is not. He said 2 things to me, actually was a key turning point in my life. And he said, if there's no such thing as a stupid question, if you honestly don't understand it. But the second one, really, for some reason, I don't know why today, that really kind of opened the floodgate. And he said, it's better to feel stupid for 5 minutes than stay stupid for the rest of your life. Yes. And then for the next 2 terms, I was bugging my teachers to death. You know, anything I don't know, I just ask. And I transformed from someone who was set 10 to set 2 in most subjects in 2 terms. Because all of a sudden I thought, if I start asking people questions, they're going to think I'm dumb, stupid. And my self-image was that small. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, this floodgates, you know, I don't care what people think. You know, I know Mr. Duff is going to be there to back me up, whatever happened. And literally from 2 terms, I went from set 10 to set 2 in most subjects.
It's amazing because I did something very, very similar to yourself. I just thought I would track down to see. I mean, obviously I'm 69 now, so I thought, well, the majority of the teachers that taught me at school 54 years ago, they'd be dead by now.
Yeah.
But I managed to track down one of my form masters who taught English, and he said, do you realise yourself and one of your fellow pupils, they were the most successful young people that we had at the school at that time. And I didn't realise that my other friend had actually created Warhorse, the
Wow.
musical.
Wow.
Many years later. So I think they've been tracking our careers. So teachers have a lot to sort of do. And just going back for a second to this school in Luton, you taught, I think you said 100 or 150 people or something?
120. Actually, I taught in 5 out of 10 schools in Luton.
Gosh.
So one of the schools at that time, they just had no teachers, and it just the circumstance. They were in special measures, and I think there'd been the several officer inspection, and it was failing every time. And if it didn't turn around, then there's a possibility the school would be closed down, the staff we got rid of, and then obviously all the hassle to, if you like, rebuild a new school, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And to my surprise, actually, the school got out of special measure in 2 months.
Gosh.
And actually started a job in crutches because I snapped my Achilles tendon.
Yes, you were saying.
So-
Oh, God. And
I
it's so
started
painful as well, anything like that.
So I started the first day in shorts and t-shirts and in crutches, you know.
So you got the sympathy, but there's nothing else.
So yeah, and then also actually at that time this also was deemed the most badly behaved school in Luton at that time.
Really?
Yeah, but it's changed a lot, and the pupils still have gone on, and I'm so pleased the staff and the pupils have gone on to university and good jobs and apprenticeships and so on and so forth.
Excellent, excellent. And finally today, because time is against us today, but I'd love you to come back and talk more about, because you're fascinating, stress management. Now, that's going to be a very important topic now, especially from September onwards. In 2 ways. It must be terrible for management of a company to tell to people, we can no longer use your services. So how do you think they can deal with that? And also, people who have been told, we haven't got a job anymore for you. How do you manage things like that?
When something happens, you know, we tend to blame ourselves, you know, what's wrong with me? But sometimes it's just circumstances. So the key thing is stop the blame game. You know, things happen and sometimes things happen for a reason. You know, you're in a very difficult situation financially, but there's always a silver lining if you look for it. So first of all, understand it's not only you. There's nothing wrong with you. Here's an opportunity for you to then reassess. Look at the job that you're doing. Do you really like that job? You know, is there other skills? So the key thing is get around people and to talk about it. Don't bottle in, because the guilt is the guilt factor that really causes the most stress. And you know, it's our responsibility to actually dictate how we think. You know, first of all of us have got tremendous skills and are shown time after time when I work with different people with this, I can't do this, I can't do this. But once we sit down to map out what they can and say, have a go, because actually, how do you know what you don't know?
So will you be doing seminars and that type of thing for people like that?
Well, first of all, my business partner, Trey Sean, and I've just actually written a course to go with this book. And so that's one. I will be doing other courses because under the Jet Set Learning, I want to resurrect some of the talks I've been given for 35 years with UNICEF. I've been a supporter of UNICEF now for 56, 57 years.
Gosh.
For 35 years, I have a series of talks where I just go deliver it, and then people then pay the money straight to UNICEF. I don't touch any money. I'll just give them the address. And one of the talk is stress management. And it's understanding, you know, first of all, don't blame yourself. When bad things happen, sometimes they happen for a reason. And unfortunately, it's only when we look back we can actually see the highlight. So understanding there is other people that are there to help you. Don't be afraid to talk about how you feel. Because it's the feelings, it's not the real thing sometimes, it's how you feel and you think. And under stress, you know, we do three things. We delete information, we distort information, or we generalize. And sometimes that generalization, you know, is detrimental. Like, you know, a woman can't do this. Well, who said? But this has been passed on. Or you're too young, too old. You know, these are the kind of brainwashing we had from our peers, you know, from past. But actually, most of the time, they're not true. So get around to successful people or mentor. Don't be afraid to talk about your feelings. Yeah, that does not reflect who you are.
Sure.
Yeah, how you feel right now is how you feel. That's it. And it's like sometimes people say, you know, well, look at this. Some people, how do you see this? So some people say it's half full or half empty.
Yeah.
But then people put interpretation in it. So, you know, if you see it as half full, you're positive. If you see it half empty, it's negative. That's not reality. That's just the way you see it.
Yes.
But don't put interpretation things. Yeah. So often we will have to put interpretations for everything, and that's not necessary. Yeah. That happened. That amount of water in the glass. That's it.
Precisely.
You know, I see that much of water.
Yes.
You know, I'm not seeing that space.
Yes.
You know, that does not make me positive or negative. It's
Absolutely.
just seeing the thing as it is.
Yes.
So don't put emotion into things that's not necessary.
Yes, absolutely. Philip, it's been wonderful talking to you today. I knew I would find you interesting and exciting to talk to, and you've made a fantastic guest. You'll have to excuse us because we have to sort of move on to our next guest, but thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you'll come back again in a couple of weeks' time because there is so much to talk about, and I think so many people can learn from you as well. And just to remind us again, how can people get in contact with you?
You can get hold of me on Jet Set Learning. You can actually info@jetsetlearning.com if you want to email me. You can find me on Philip Chan Official on Facebook and on LinkedIn, Philip Chan Lion, and also on the Facebook as well, the 10 second to child genius. And
Excellent.
then on Facebook again, Jet Set Learning.
Terrific.
So Ian, thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
me.
It's been great stuff. So now we're just going to take another short break, and then we're going to talk to two young ladies today, one photographer, one model, and they have been doing really a new type of photographic study during lockdown, but the subject is called Coming Out of Lockdown. So stay with us and we will see you again shortly. Well, welcome back to the third part of the show today. It's been the most amazing show today with Philip Chan, and now we have the most two beautiful young ladies. Now, I've been trained to get this right. It's Anfisa Polishkevich. I said it right. A clap, I should say.
Very nice pronunciation, yeah.
And Tatjana Saknu.
Sachno, right.
Sachno.
Yes.
Now, the two of you have been creating this photographic exhibition called Away from the City.
Yes.
So first of all, you are the photographer, Anfisa, and I've known you and I've respected your photography, and you've been on before now with some of your work. So tell me first of all, why did you start doing a project like this?
It was a very simple story. I received text message from my neighbor, and she asked me if I want to take a part of a front garden exhibition to join her together, to take some, to bring some work and show to local community, just to bring that positive thinking of local community, because it was in that time when we had first weeks of lockdown and we couldn't really do much. And I said, okay, I will take a part, and just to help community to hold together in this very important time and very difficult time, and I started doing the project. So I was thinking about model and about the photographs, what I want to show them. And in that time I was thinking to get a model, to find one model. So, and I really wanted to stick to one girl who will be really good, who will be very good to my project, to fit to all my scenario. So, and I found Tanya. So I was going for the local walk, and
Yes.
I saw the girl. She was sitting on a bench in her hoodie on and with phone, and I was just checking her, and then said, okay, she is worried that I'll take my camera and start doing my project. And I started talking to her. I said, Tanya, I said, hello, hi. She said, I said, do you want to take a part of my project? Do you want to be photographed? And I said, if you'll be interested about that, give me a call or just text me. And she gave me her Instagram. And I saw that her name is Tanya. I said, oh, wow, this is interesting. I said, where you come from? I thought Tanya should be Ukrainian or Russian. It's a very common name. And she said, I'm from Ukraine. I said, oh, okay, then привет. So that's why we start. That's how we start working together on our first project together. And then we've done the exhibition. Was very successful because people really like it and really enjoyed it, because we had some few unique shots with deers and with dogs, so people really enjoy it, and I'm glad that we take a part of that just to keep my creative juices flowing during the coronavirus time. So yes, this is how it started. And
So how did it feel, Tanya, when all of a sudden Anfisa says, oh, well, just go and stand in amongst all these deer? Were you scared, or?
No, actually, I like to do photos, to be a model in the photos when it's so creative. And Anfisa is so creative. So yeah, we met in the park accidentally. I took a book, sorry, not the phone. I like to read, so I took the book. I didn't have no makeup, nothing, like I was staying at home. I couldn't stay at home anymore. So I went to the park, and she just saw me. She said, no, I saw your face, and that's it.
Well, there you go. Have you modelled before yourself?
Yeah, I used to work as a model like all my life, and I still do this, but now if I want to change a little bit, I want to become an actress. Okay. And so slowly
So
I can spot diamond in the dust very well.
If anything puts you off modelling, it's being stuck in the middle of some reindeer.
Actually, with reindeer is a very interesting story, Ian.
Yeah.
Because I spoke to Tanya, and I thought it would be very selfish if I ask her to model for myself, because she got also Instagram page, and I thought she'll be interested in some good photographs as well.
Yes.
And I said to her, Tanya, I will do photographs for me, what I want, and what about you? Have you got some idea? What do you want? She said, oh, I really want to try Amazonka. I said, oh, Amazonka. I said, okay, well. And I said, okay, we can do Amazonka. And then
what is that?
It's kind of girl who is hunting in the forest. Okay. It's very famous in Russia or in Ukraine.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, we can do Amazonka. And then I was thinking how we can do it, because all shops were shut. Yeah. And we couldn't get any outfit, we couldn't get anything. So I said, we'll try to do by ourselves. So we designed costume by ourselves. I bought some jumper from Sainsbury's. And Tanya, she done her costume, and I've done her crown decoration with wild, kind of sticks, and
yes.
it's quite beautiful. So and so we'll try this. And we had a problem to find some different stuff, but so we'll see how we can do. And then Tanya said, what about deers? I said, deers? Wow, let me do some research if we can really go there and take photographs there. And if we will be lucky, we can have a deers in the background. It will be very beautiful to fit in a shot. So I said, let's try our luck. So we went to the Richmond Park, and literally when we was going to the park, we came inside, and the deer was on the right. So I said, Tanya, this is our day.
Yeah.
This is our day.
And I said, I'm gonna try to climb a little bit closer and closer. So yeah.
Very good.
First of all, we was trying to do on the background, and then we have to. Tanya, she was with her all Ukrainian charm. She was going very, very, slowly behind them, and then she was close, and that was fine because I was standing on the front with my 200 lens camera, and they wasn't scared. They was looking at me because sometimes they hunting them, and they probably think what she got in her hands, and I was here, Tanya, because I couldn't tell her because she was so far.
Yes.
I said, closer, go closer. She was just slowly. I said, they're fine now, because usually they are aggressive. Don't try this at home. They really, I'm joking,
absolutely.
You have to be very careful.
When you showed me the photographs, because you were so excited with these photographs,
yes,
and we're great friends as well. So you sent me these photographs, and I thought they were amazing. I honestly, I think you are one of the best photographers I've seen in years. I really do. And when I saw the pictures of you, what a great model! Because it takes more than it's intuition. It's skill to actually be able to do what you did as well. It's not, because the two of you have worked together so well on it, blends so well with what you've sort of done together, and it's very skillfully done. And I've always said to you that you're a very romantic photographer, and it's a very feminine look, but it's a fabulous look at the same time. And the two of you together, it's magic. There's this sort of wonderful sense. So anyway, you there you are, crawling in amongst these reindeer. Were you not scared, or?
No, I wasn't scared actually. I was scared of deers with the horns.
Yeah.
Because I thought they can hit me, so I didn't come close to them.
But it looks like you did.
We respect their own space, to be honest. We try to don't scare them or don't come too close. I was just trying to get an angle when it looked like I was lying down on the floor and just trying to take that, vision that she is very close. But in some point, you was very close, Tanya. She was feeding one deer with grass. We have a photograph. We have evidence, Ian.
But you're very smart because you know, from which angle to take a picture. And actually, what I like most from Anfisa, because first, it's very easy to work with her, and I like when, example, I stayed somehow like in a nice pose, and she said, Tanya, stay like that, and she go in there, and she take picture from different angle.
Yeah.
I'm just usually paying attention on a strong thing of the person, but she got all beautiful. She got all strong things on her body, so that's why I do photographs from every angle, because every angle is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
I get. So, how have you kept a figure like that? So, are you gymnastic or something? Are you sort of sporty? Because it's a very toned figure that you have.
Thank you. Yes, I used to have a competition in Miss Bikini of Ukraine.
Okay.
So I prepared from zero for 3 months for this competition.
Okay.
And I was one of the winners. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Britain? Do you see a future for yourself in Britain?
In Britain, yes, of course.
And why? Why do you see a future here? What brings you to Britain? What do you see? What values do you think Britain brings to you?
Because the people are more further than in Ukraine.
Okay.
They're more creative. It's very different. The mentality is very different, and I always want to grow. That's why I moved here.
Yeah. No, well, you're most welcome, the two of you. And as you know, part of our process on this channel is to open up to all communities now, and actually admire all communities. And as I say, I think the two of you, I was just bowled away. literally, I was bowled away by the photography, and I was bowled away by the figure and how you actually portrayed yourself at the same time. It was so professional. I think the two of you, you know, you've done something incredibly interesting. So, are you going to work together more? Are you going to be doing more projects together?
Yes, he was talking about to create strong portfolio, to have all like beauty shots, very close-up shots, studio shots. So our next step, we'll do some studio with good lighting. We'll try that, and we'll try Tanya with different outfit, with different hairstyle, because we're doing everything by ourselves. We're choosing the clothes, we're choosing what kind of look we should go for. So yeah, we'll try to expand a little bit more.
And I know you're always looking for new clients for yourself as well. So how can people get in contact with you, if you know, so that you can take their photograph?
It's very easy. I'm on Instagram. I'm using Instagram more now, and 4K Memento. And also
So say the title again of your...
is a 4K Memento.
Memento.
Memento, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's the best way to keep in touch. Or Anfisa Poljushkevich, Facebook. I'm in all social media, so it's easy to find me.
Excellent.
I would say.
And Tatiana, how can people get in contact with you? Because obviously, after seeing all these photographs, I would think there's going to be offers coming flooding in through the door. So how can people get hold of you?
The same through Instagram. And
Okay.
so my name there, I don't know how to translate in English, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
T-E-S-A, Tessa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like
Okay.
this.
Excellent.
Lines.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming in today. You've brightened up our day. I mean, certainly the gentlemen in the studio have felt so much brighter.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you've
Thank you
added
very
to us. And I think, well done, the two of you, because I think you've actually created something that is absolutely so beautiful. And I hope you can do more, and perhaps actually do an exhibition, you know, of the work, you know, that you're going to do with Tatiana as well. So fabulous, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you for
Tatiana,
invitation.
thank you so much for coming in today as well. So, it's been quite a lively show today for Voice of London with me, Ian Pelham Turner. So, we've done a news show, we've done some very interesting work with Philip Chan, and then with these two wonderful young ladies as well. So for me, Ian Pelham Turner, on ALB UK Television and positivebritain.co.uk, the Voice of London show, I hope you enjoyed it today, and we'll be doing another show tomorrow. Take care, good luck, have a great day.